Hello, guys. Welcome back. This is episode 40 of Ladies First. I am your host, Amber Vickers. Whoa, today's a big day. If you are an NCAA athlete, today is a huge day for you. I was an NCAA athlete. I am so happy that college athletes, well, I was a college athlete, I could say, college athletes have been granted something that we've been fighting hard for a long time, for such a long time. And I'm so happy about today. I don't know about you guys. I'm happy about today. We'll talk about that. Of course, the ladies will come first. We'll talk about WNBA news. So many things have happened in WNBA. I can't keep up with the transaction wire. I just cannot. Players are getting waived. Players are coming back. Players are getting waived. Players are coming back. We'll look into that. Also, the Eastern Conference Finals, and we already know who's going to be in the finals to represent the West. And to end my show today, we're going to have a good show. We're going to have a great show. But to end the show today, I want to have a prayer segment having to deal with sports, but also having to deal with something personal. To some of you viewers out there, or some of you viewers that might have knew or know somebody that has been through that. But we'll get into all that. I got two sponsors, and I'm going to hit two more sponsors, hopefully during the middle of the show. Hopefully I can do that. Hopefully I can remember to do that. Amber, you're going to remember to hit your sponsors. Yes, you are. But first up, we have mybookie.ag. Use the code USN100 to double your first deposit. Now, the Discord chat has been winning money like crazy. Corey's been winning people money like crazy. Oh, man. Kev and Perry and all those in the Discord chat winning all kinds of crazy money. Tampa Bay Lightning look like they might go back to back. They are up 2-0 in that series. We got Atlanta and Milwaukee tonight. If you bet on the Phoenix Suns to win, you won some money. Congratulations. We got MLB. We got Wimbledon. Serena's no longer in it due to injury, but we still got some great competitors there. WNBA basketball is what I like to see, of course. You got Major League Soccer, European soccer, of course, Tour de France, NASCAR, IndyCar, anything you can think of, you can bet on mybookie.ag. Use that code USN100 to double that first deposit. All right, the next sponsor I am going to do will be teespring.com/store/unwrapped. I don't have my shirt on, but I do have my beautiful mug here for Ladies First. If you guys cannot see that, that's my merch that I have for my live show. I'm going to get to the merch for all the live shows here in a minute. But we got OG gear. We got some new label gear. I have this sticker and I have that hoodie. I have those pants. Okay, LeBron stuff. Shout out to LeBron and D-Wade and Damian Lillard for supporting the WNBA last night. They went to the Sparks and Aces game. Let's see. Here comes the live lineup gear. We got Fights Unwrapped, Gen Z, Fourth Man Pod. The Big Three is coming back. The People's XFL show is going to be on a little hiatus, but I don't know for how long. I think Moose got a new job. I'm not sure if Garrett from Iowa has found another co-host for that or not. We got Ladies First. I showed you guys the mug, and I usually have my t-shirt on. Saturday Standouts is now with Caleb and Ethan. So that is now with Caleb and Ethan. Backstop Banter. Garrett from Iowa will be a special guest tonight because Connie is on vacation, hitting golf balls and having fun. So Connie, I think, will be back next week, but this week will be Garrett from Iowa. He is one of the hosts of the People's XFL show. He has the Degenerates Corner as well with Jim. So he does a lot, and he's usually on a stream with us. We haven't been on a stream in a while. We miss each other. We talk about how much we miss each other, but I like Garrett from Iowa a lot. Huge Cubs fan. And of course, you guys know my co-host for Count the Bucket, Michael. He's a huge Cincinnati Reds fan. So he will be the special guest tonight. Last week, it was Perry, which is one of the co-founders of Unwrapped Sports. We got Business Casual Basketball with Aaron, keeping it blunt. No longer a show for right now. It's on the shelf. Prop Bros is on the shelf as well right now. And the Long Ball Lounge with Jesse is the newest show in the live lineup. He is going to start law school. So he's going to be very, very busy. And my co-host Michael has started his online classes. So he is going to be very, very busy. He's my co-host for Count the Bucket. But check out teespring.com/stores/unwrapped. Whew, I feel like I've already said a mouthful already. All right. WNBA news. Now, I told you guys before, I try to keep up with the transition wire as much as possible. Players being let go, contracts being terminated, players getting picked up by other teams. We're going to look on the website, guys, and we're going to do this together because this is just too much. Also, the All-Star teams were announced. All-Star is July 14th in Las Vegas. It will be hot. So if you get a chance to go to All-Star weekend for WNBA, that'd be great. I can't go. Well, All-Star night, should I say, because it's on a Wednesday, All-Star night. Unfortunately, we'll still be in Oklahoma dealing with a lot of rain right now. Oklahoma doesn't get much rain in the summertime, so this has been a blessing for us. All right, let's share this screen. I'm going to show you those WNBA All-Stars in a minute. And some people I voted for got in. So let's see. I was very happy that I did pick at least some people. I did pick correctly. Can I say that? I did pick correctly. All right, latest news. James Wade, the coach for Chicago Sky, they went 8-4 in the month of June. Of course, you guys know Candace Parker's back, and he is the coach of the month. Tina Charles and Asia Wilson, players of the month. Michaela Onyenwere, rookie of the month for June. She is just balling. She will probably win rookie of the year. Let's look at transactions. Okay, guys, because I am so confused. Okay, so last Thursday was we'll go back to the 27th. Okay. Let's look at the transaction wire because as you guys can see, you see why I'm so confused. All right. Lauren Cox was waived by the Indiana Fever. They are playing tonight, actually. Connecticut Sun waived, hardship release from Emma Kenyon. All right. Emma Kenyon had a hardship release. On the 28th, the Indiana Fever signed Chelsea Perry. The Mystics waived Stella Johnson. They waived Leslie and they waived Gustafsson. The Minnesota Lynx waived, and that was really surprising that they waived Rachel Benham. That was very surprising. The Aces waived Joanna Holmes. The Seattle Storm waived rookie Kiana Williams. She just won a national championship with the Stanford Cardinal. Los Angeles Sparks waived Bria Holmes. My dog just barked. My mom just came home. And they also waived Christine Anguiway. I hope I said that right. That's a hardship release. I have to figure out what a hardship release is. I'm going to have to look that up. Now, look at this. On the 29th, Jonquil Jones has come back. Yes, I wasn't quite sure if she was coming back after playing for a country, but she's back. And she was active on the 29th for the Connecticut Sun. Carly Samuelson had a hardship waive from the Los Angeles Sparks. And then Lauren Cox cleared waivers on the 29th with the Indiana Fever. So you guys see why I'm so confused. Look at all these transactions within like 6 or 7 days. So the Mystics cleared waivers with everybody that they waived, with Johnson, Leslie, and Gustafsson. The Minnesota Lynx had a hardship release on Clarendon. Proper pronoun is they. They keep getting bounced around with the Minnesota Lynx. I just don't understand that. Benham got waivers cleared. Holmes, waivers cleared. Kiana Williams, waivers cleared. Bria Holmes, waivers cleared. And then signed a ROS contract hardship. Carly Samuelson signed a hardship contract with the with the Sparks. And then Lauren Cox signed our contract with the Sparks. Kaya Stokes was waived by the New York Liberty. And then she had a contract amendment. It's called a divorce. This is all new for me. I have to understand this WNBA terminology. And Nadir Fall, she is now active for the Chicago Sky. That was on the 30th. Now today. 7-day contract for the Gustafsson. She got it for the Washington Mystics. Shatori Walker Kimbrough got a 7-day contract as well for the Washington Mystics. Rashonda Gray signed a contract with New York Liberty. And Seattle Storm signed Sierra Burdick to a 7-day contract. Okay, guys, if you can see why I'm so confused, this is why I'm so confused. So these things, let me see first of all, let's look at a hardship release. Let's look at the definition for a hardship release. Ship release. WNBA. Please give me the correct definition. Let's see. I don't think it's going to tell me what it is. I don't want Yahoo. I want Google. Let's go to Google. And we're going to figure out together what a hardship release is, guys, because I really need to figure this out. Hardship release, WNBA. Bam. Okay, here we go. I think it's the part of the CBA. I know what a replacement contract is. I know what that is. I know what a 7-day contract is, of course. Okay, it won't show me. All right, guys, I'm going to have to look this up on my own time and then share the screen with you because right now it's just all over the place. But we're going to figure out what this stuff is. We're going to figure out what a hardship release is. I know what waivers are and things like that. ROS contract, a contract amendment / divorce, which that means I just amended the contract. I think I can understand that pretty well. Is there any other terminology in here that I need to understand? No. So next week, we're going to dive into the terminology of all these things that are going on in the WNBA because I need to understand them. But it's so much that happens and things like that. Okay, these are the regular season standings. Now, mind you guys, there will be a WNBA playoff and final, but there will also be a Commissioner's Cup. So keep that in mind because we're going to look at the standings for the regular season, and then we're going to look at Commissioner Cup standings as well. So Vegas is at the top. We got Vegas, Seattle, Connecticut. Jacquel Jones is back. Chicago Sky, Minnesota Lynx, New York Liberty, Dallas Wings, Phoenix Mercury. DT is back. Washington Mystics, they have been playing very shorthanded, being very competitive. Los Angeles Sparks, Atlanta Dream, and the Indiana Fever. All right, so those are your top teams. So the top 8 teams get a playoff berth. So they do the top 8. But for the Commissioner's Cup, it's the East and the West. So in the East right now, Connecticut is ahead of Chicago by 2 games. So Connecticut is ahead of Chicago by 2 games. They are 6-1, and Chicago is 6-3. Atlanta is 4-4. This is in the East, guys. New York is 4-4. The Mystics are 3-5, and Indiana is 1-7. Now the West is where it's going to get dicey because the top 2 teams in the West might meet in the WNBA final. They're the 2 best teams in the WNBA right now. And Seattle is leading the Las Vegas Aces by 1 game. So they're 5-1. Las Vegas Aces are 5-2. The Lynx are 4-3. The Mercury are 3-4. The Wings are 3-5. And the Sparks are 1-6. So you guys know how this Commissioner Cups works. I explain it every week. I'm learning more and more every day. So as of right now, Seattle would be playing Connecticut for the Commissioner's Cup. As of right now, it's the top 2. It's the top team in each conference. So in the West is Seattle right now, and in the East is Connecticut. This game will take place in August, on August the 12th, after the conclusion of the Olympics. And then they will resume the regular season on August the 15th. And then that's when you'll play the rest of your regular season games, and then you'll get into the playoffs. I know it's a little confusing, guys, but That's the way it is right now. Okay, guys, let's look at some stats. All right, let's see. No, that's not what I want to do. Oh, here we go. Tina Charles is still leading the league in scoring. I think she might break Taurasi's record. We'll see. She has 25.5. Brianna Stewart, 21.8. Jonquil Jones is back. I expect her to jump right back into the MVP conversation. And Enrique and then Brittany Griner. So Brianna Stewart and Jonquil Jones are the only two players in the league averaging a double-double. Yes. Nope. Sylvia Fowles is averaging a double-double as well. She's averaging a double. So those three players right here are averaging a double-double. Jonquil Jones, Brianna Stewart, Sylvia Fowles, who's been playing out of her mind lately. Assists per game doesn't surprise me. Courtney Vandersloot's number one. Chelsea Gray, Sue Bird, Sabrina and Natasha Cloud. Blocks per game, Brittany Griner's at the top. Brianna Stewart, Liz Cambage, Sylvia Fowles, and Brianna Turner. She has been playing very, very well. I think I'm going to have her in my most improved. She is definitely going to be in my most improved. Voting her. Ariel Atkins, I'm gonna talk about that later on in the season. Steals per game, Sylvia Fowles, that's surprising. And number one, Courtney Vandersloot, Brittany Sykes, Dana Robinson, she's always in the top five, and Rebecca Allen. Field goal percentage, Sylvia Fowles shoots a lot of her shots in the paint, so does Brittany Griner. Ruthie Hibbert, she was played very well for Chicago off the bench. I really like what she brings to that Chicago Sky team off the bench. Jonquil Jones and then Liz Cambage. Jonquil Jones is looking like a 6'6" guard out there. I mean, sheesh. All right, 3-pointers made. Sammy Wickham, Enrique, Ariel Atkins, Marina Hambry. Oh, I got something to say about Marina Hambry. I think she was a snub on the All-Star team, but, we'll talk about that. And then Sue Bird. All right, 3-point percentage. Talbot, Jones, Benham, who just got waived, but I'm pretty sure that Minnesota, somebody's going to sign her because she's a great player. Wickham and Jasmine Thomas. I used to love watching her play at Duke, and I still love watching her play. Fantasy points. So if you do fantasy, if you're into WNBA fantasy, we got Brianna Stewart, Jonquil Jones, Tina Charles, Sylvia Fowles, and Brittany Griner. That makes sense because they put up almost double-doubles every single night. All right, guys, we're going to look at the All-Star teams. We're going to take a look at the All-Star teams. This game will be played July 14th in Vegas on a Wednesday. So we're going to look at the All-Star teams. Will it show me All-Star teams? I might have to go to my Twitter and get this. Let me go to my Twitter, guys, and get the All-Star teams. Let's see. I am going to share my screen in a minute, guys. Just bear with me. I'm going to have to find the All-Star teams and bring them up for you guys. Nope. Well, maybe that'll bring it up. Okay. All right, here it is. Oh, you can't see it. Okay. We'll do it like this. Okay. So we're going to stop that screen share. We're going to share my screen with Twitter. And I'm going to show you guys the All-Star team. All right, guys. Here is a WNBA All-Star team. Hope you guys can see that. Let me go here. Let me maximize. Wait a minute. Oh, God, I didn't mean to do that. I got 4 comments. Hello, Unwrap Sports Network. Thank you, Perry. Hello. Hardship exception is an extra roster spot. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Garrett from Iowa. I appreciate it. Yeah, they have so much terminology, and I'm trying to understand it all. It's just a lot, but I try my best. All right, here we go. Here's the All-Star team. They will face Team USA on July 14th. That is a Wednesday. Liz Cambage, Candace Parker, Arike, Benaja Laney, Courtney Vandersloot, Setu, Courtney Williams, first time All-Star, Kalea Copper, Darika Hamby, Breonna Jones, Jonquil Jones, and Dewana Bonner. Those are your All-Stars. Now they will be facing Team USA. And Team USA consists of, pretty sure you guys know because I told you guys last week, but we'll look at it again today because we talked about the feelings about the Team USA roster. Okay, you can't see that either. Let's see. All right, let me make this bigger so I can read it. Okay, Team USA, Ariel Atkins, Sue Bird, Tina Charles, Skylar Dickens-Smith, Sylvia Fowles, Chelsea Gray, Lafisha Collier, Brittany Griner, Brianna Stewart, Jewel Lloyd, Asia Wilson, and Diana Taurasi. So those players will play the WNBA All-Stars. And I think that is beautiful. I like that. I actually like that concept. I like the concept of the All-Stars playing the Olympic team. Now, there were probably some snubs. There are snubs every year. Talk about Hambry. I think Hambry should have been on it. Ogumlake didn't make an All-Star team or the Team USA roster, which, that we talked about that last week. It's very interesting to see how these teams are picked. I did pick my 10 All-Stars. I told you guys that, I think a couple of weeks ago, who I picked and who I had as All-Stars. But I didn't know Jonquil Jones was coming back. I was like, man, I think I put Jones in front of Laney. Let me look at my photos and tell you guys who I picked. Let me just reiterate who I chose. Okay, let me see if I can find it. I probably deleted the picture. Did I delete the picture? And you deleted who you picked for All-Stars. I think I deleted the picture on accident. But I know I voted for Courtney Williams, Candace Parker. Let me see. I can kind of tell you who I voted for. Courtney Williams, Candace Parker. I voted for Asia Wilson because I didn't know she was on Team USA just yet. I voted for Arike. Did I vote for Jonquil Jones? I think I did. I voted Skylar Diggins-Smith as an All-Star as well. Brianna Stewart, Jewel Lloyd. So I got a mix. I have a mix in my voting. So I voted some of the players I think half the All-Stars I voted for are playing for Team USA and the other half made the All-Star team. I think that's how my voting went. But congratulations to those ladies that made the All-Star team and congratulations to those ladies that made Team USA. Okay, now let's look and see what WNBA action is live tonight. And then we're going to move on. Let's look. So right now, they're playing on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch this game. It's towards the end of the third quarter. We got the Connecticut Sun and Indiana Fever. The Connecticut Sun are up 12, 68-56. That's the only game on tonight. It's on Amazon Prime. Go check that out, guys. Tomorrow, we got Chicago and Dallas on CBS Sports Network. If you have Hulu Live, you have CBS Sports Network. And then after that game, we got the Las Vegas Aces and the Los Angeles Sparks. They just met the other night. I told you guys LeBron, Dame, and D Wade, and it was a star-studded event there. I think it was in Vegas or Los Angeles? It might be in Los Angeles. Let me look and see where their game was at. Let me click on this. Why does it always do this to me? I don't want all of that. It was in Los Angeles. So they have 3 home games. So they have a home game tomorrow and then a home game on the 4th of July. Okay, cool. So it was in Los Angeles. And the Stars were out for their game supporting the WNBA. We appreciate the men that support the WNBA. I know I do. Appreciate men that support women's sports. I am taking you guys through all kinds of pages right now. Let's look at the full schedule. I'm going to tell you guys the games that are happening. Okay, this is too much. We are in July. See more. Okay. Tomorrow there are 3 games. Chicago, Dallas, CBS Sports Network, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, CBS Sports Network, Atlanta, Seattle on Twitter. This weekend, 3 games. Connecticut, Indiana, playing back-to-back. They're playing each other back-to-back, should I say, on NBA TV. Washington and New York, playing on CBS Sports Network. And in Minnesota and Phoenix, playing each other on Facebook. July 4th, there are 2 games. Atlanta and Vegas on NBA TV. And in Seattle and Los Angeles on NBA TV. That's a Commissioner's Cup game. If you see these gold symbols, those are Commissioner Cups games. And then on Monday, we have 1 game on Facebook, Dallas and New York. All right, guys. So that's what's going on tonight. Just one game tonight. Connecticut's trying to stay above Chicago for that 3rd spot in the playoffs. And also for their first number 1 spot in the Commissioner's Cup. They lead Chicago by, I think, 2 games in that. 1 or 2 games. I'm not quite sure. But they're trying to stay above because Chicago, since Candace Parker has come back, has looked very, very good. They looked like we thought they would look before the injury. Stephanie Dolson was out. Quigley was out. And then Parker was out. Those are huge contributors for you if you're James Wade. And he did win Coach of the Month because he did go 8-4 in the month of June. All right, that's it for WNBA news. Let's slide on to NCAA news. Man, oh man. If you're a college athlete right now, you are rejoicing, you are excited, you are happy. I don't know what to say. These endorsement deals are going to be through the roof. I know Dabo Swinney said a couple of years ago, if college players start getting paid, he was going to quit college football. Okay. That's all I pretty much have to say about that. I mean, all right, whatever. Because you are making millions of dollars. You're putting millions of dollars into a program. And these college players are getting a stipend, some meals, and school paid for. When they're bringing in so much money. And now the NCAA has said, you know what? The way social media is on the rise and branding is on the rise, and branding is so important. We're going to start paying these guys. We're going to start paying these guys for brand deals. And I think that's amazing. Now, there will be restrictions. I know University of Oklahoma, I've retweeted some stuff on their restrictions. They have restrictions on what you can and cannot get a brand deal for. Just to name a few: Cannabis, MidFirst Bank, which is a bank here in Oklahoma, Nike, Jordan, which Jordan is the official sponsor for University of Oklahoma. They went from Nike to Jordan. So I don't know about, I don't understand that, but whatever. I think Budweiser was another one. So just to name a few from the University of Oklahoma off the top of my head that I saw on Twitter, you cannot be sponsored by or make money off of those brand deals. But why would a college kid endorse beer anyway? I don't know. But anyway, I think it's amazing. I think it's great. And Gary from Iowa said that BYU players cannot endorse coffee companies. What? Not coffee companies? You know how many college kids drink coffee? Wow, that's interesting. OU has some interesting ones on theirs too. They have some very interesting ones. But I know Spencer Rattler already has his endorsement deal in place. I saw that on Twitter today. There are a couple of other players. I saw a player that he already had his endorsement deal for PetSmart because he had his dog next to him in a picture, and he already has his endorsement deal set for PetSmart. I thought that was great. I think it's amazing that these college players can see the fruits of their labor because they work hard on social media. They really do. They work hard to create a brand for themselves. They get verified and things like that. They get talked about. It's just so much that goes into what these players do on and off the field, on and off the court, men and women. I'm very happy. I knew this day would come. Um, I'm not quite sure how others feel about it, but I know a lot of people are excited about it. I don't know how college coaches feel about it. College coaches are probably like, what? But I know a lot of them are probably happy for these players because they know these players' backgrounds. They want to go see these players' homes. They know that these players are building a brand. And not only are they building a brand for themselves, they're bringing a brand for the universities as well. So you're not only making money for you, but you're making extra money for the university that you were already making to begin with. So they're just getting paid to be on social media, which is what most of college is these days. I mean, that's what the world is these days, is social media, is branding, is knowing how to market yourself. I think that's beautiful. I think it's amazing. I think it should be a major or a minor in a college, knowing how to brand yourself and knowing how to financially understand how to brand yourself, how to market yourself. Jamel Hill made an excellent point, and she said, once you're making this money, you need to get you a CPA ASAP, and you need to get you a financial advisor that's going to say, okay, this is how much you're going to have to owe in taxes. Yes, you are a college student, but you are making this much money off of brand deals. So let me go ahead and read this comment from Garrett from Iowa. Boost Mobile signed a deal with the Twins from Fresno State Women's Basketball Program. Yes, the Twins from Fresno State were on the billboard in Times Square. I retweeted that as well. They've been branding themselves since high school. A lot of these players have been branding themselves since high school. Just imagine LeBron, if he was able to brand himself in high school, or Zion, Mike Vick in college, Johnny Manziel in college. Kyler Murray was a two-sport athlete in college. He had baseball and he had football. Deion Sanders. I mean, I just imagine what the money would have been like back then. I mean, there's more money to be made now, of course, because the times are different. But just imagine what they could do off of a single tweet or a single Instagram post or a single Facebook Live or a TikTok or a Snapchat. Man, and I know Instagram and Facebook are basically integrated. They're basically the same thing right now. It's going to be crazy. I also saw a tweet where a guy was riding a skateboard. Oh, I can show it to you guys. So let me show you guys this tweet. You guys are going to laugh at this. I cracked up laughing when I saw this tweet. It's pretty fresh on my profile. Let's see. There's Spencer Rattler. Okay, here it is right here, guys. So you see this guy? He's on his skateboard, right? He's on his skateboard. This is college athletes before July 1st. He's riding a skateboard, eating a sandwich. And now look, college athletes after July 1st. he has money on the hood of his Tesla. He got a phone. He has a long gold chain. He has, I think, a Gucci backpack on. He has this YouTube plaque, and he's hopping in a car. And he's getting ready to drive off with all that money on the rooftop. I thought that was hilarious. Because that's what we looked like as college athletes. We were walking to class, biking to class, eating on the way to class. But now you just count your money. Oh, man, I just put $500 on the roof. That's nothing. About to hop in my Tesla. Oh, man, that's nothing. That is hilarious. I thought that was so funny that I saw that. But there will be restrictions with these endorsement deals. And you have to be careful with your money. Like Jamel Hill said, get you a CPA, get you somebody you can trust to financially guide you through this process. So by the time you get to the league, men and women, by the time these men and women get to the league, they know how to be financially responsible at an early age. I think that's very, very important. I've said this before. I think college athletes should take at least 4 accounting and financing classes just to get the basic business courses, just to get a firm understanding of how money works, how business works, how money and business intertwine, and how sometimes they're separate. I think that's very important. All right. So congratulations to the NCAA. I am very, very excited about that opportunity for NCAA players to make money off of likeness. Whew. Eastern Conference Finals. There's a game on right now. The Bucks in Atlanta. Right now, the Bucks are up 2-10. Yes, I said they're right, 2-10 Looks like Bogey's going to hit this shot. Yes, it is now 5-10 Milwaukee. Giannis is out, as we all well know. I think Bobby Portis started in his spot. Yes, he did. And Trae Young is out. And we know that Lou Williams started in his spot. Clint Capella is playing. He did get bowled above the eye, and he was questionable, but he is playing tonight. Looks like his eye is okay. But Trae Young in that foot, I think he's going to wait till game 6 till they play at home. He's going to come back. Giannis, his knee just looked like it just went the wrong way. I don't know if Giannis is going to come back in this series. And if Milwaukee advances on to play the Phoenix Suns, I'll talk about that series in a minute. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be able to play in that as well. It's just a little, that didn't look good. That didn't look good. I'm looking at a graphic here on TNT. They're 6-5 without Giannis this season. They are 6-5. The way they lost to Atlanta, the last game, just didn't look good because before Giannis even went out, Trae was already out. Atlanta was up double digits, and then Giannis went out, and it got bad. It got really bad. Cam Reddish came back, played some crucial minutes. I think he'll get minutes in this game. I think that Nate McMillan will ease him back into the lineup. John Collins' nice little turnaround jumper doesn't go. On the last possession, Brook Lopez got fouled and hit both free throws. He has the height advantage on John Collins. John Collins is playing pretty good defense. See Bobby Portis, ball fake, floater in the lane, no rebound, tipped out. Chris Middleton, nope. They got a rebound. Atlanta got a rebound. Bobby Portis, yes. It is now 5-14 Milwaukee. They're playing with a lot of energy tonight. Hopefully they can keep this up because you cannot go down 3-2 and go back to Atlanta. I don't think they can do that or afford to do that because I don't think Giannis is going to come back in this series. Kevin Huerter step back 3. No. Rebound, PJ Tucker. Drew Holiday is pushing. Found Lopez on a break. And he finishes. It is now 5-16 Milwaukee. So Milwaukee looks like they're bringing good energy in this game 5. What they did in game 4 was unacceptable. Come on, John Collins, hit it. Nope. They're struggling for the field right now. Atlanta is. They're getting good looks. They're just struggling. Lou Williams is going to have a Lou Will game type of game, I think, for Atlanta to pull this off in Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee might be favored in this game. Oh, nope. And 1. Oh, Clint Capella gets fouled there by PJ Tucker. He's going to go to the line and shoot 2. But I think that Lou Williams needs to be aggressive. Bogey needs to be aggressive. Huerter needs to be aggressive. John Collins needs to be aggressive in this game to pull this off in Milwaukee because Milwaukee got embarrassed in Atlanta, and I know they feel embarrassed. And Coach Bud, I have strong opinions about Coach Bud, but that's neither here nor there. I think he needs to win this series to keep his job because I said this on Step Back Sisterhood. He squeaked by the Nets. He let a one-legged James Harden and Kevin Durant take him to 7 games, and that shouldn't have happened when you have Giannis, Middleton, and Drew Holiday. I can only imagine if James Harden was healthy. I think that series goes for 5 or 6, maybe, possibly. If all 3 are healthy, it probably goes 4 or 5. Clint Capella hits both free throws. It is now 7-16. Nate McMillan looks a little frustrated, but it looks like they'll be okay. It's early in the game. You can erase an early lead like this. They're going to have to rebound, and Lou Williams is going to have to play better, play his best for them to win. Chris Middleton misses. Lopez with a rebound. Lopez goes up, and he finishes over Bogey. It is now 7-18. But this series is tied 2-2. It could go either way, I think. It could go either way. I don't know if Giannis is coming back. And if he does come back, he's not going to be 100%. And would you rather have Giannis at 80% or not have him at all? That's the true question. Clint Capella, be strong with the basketball, Clint. Be strong with the basketball. Good pass, Bogey. Good shot, Collins. No. Clint Capella with the rebound. Be strong. He is just not being strong with the basketball. And Bobby Portis is going to finish on the fast break. It is now 7-20 Milwaukee. I love what Bobby Portis brings to this team. I really love his energy. He played at Alabama. I think I said Arkansas on Count the Bucket, but I believe it's Alabama. It's probably Arkansas. I think it's Arkansas. Let me check. Yep, it is Arkansas. So he played at Arkansas college ball. He gets drafted, and I'm like, man, he's going to be a pretty decent player. Chris Middleton would shot off the glass. It is now 22-7, Milwaukee. I said he's going to be a pretty decent player in the NBA, and it didn't quite work out. Everywhere he went, it didn't work out. And all of a sudden, the Bucks give him a chance, and he's at Energizer Bunny off the bench, but he's starting for Giannis tonight. So off the bench, you'll probably see for the Bucks Connington, and you'll see Forbes. Since Portis is starting, you usually see those three players off the bench. I don't know if Bud will bring in a third player. He'll probably bring in Antetokounmpo, Giannis's little brother. He'll probably bring him in for some minutes here and there. But the Bucks need this game tonight because you cannot go down 3-2 and go back to Atlanta. And you want to get this series, well, the finals is going to start next week because as we will discuss who made it out the West in a minute, but you want to make sure that Giannis has enough rest and a proper rest to come back for the NBA Finals. I wouldn't bring him back in the Eastern Conference Finals. I would just trust Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday because you don't want him to damage that knee any further. And he's having to play really hard. You can put him, Nate McMillan, but put him in a pick and roll and having to move and shift on the perimeter with Trae Young or Lou Williams would be quite difficult for that knee. Running straight forward is fine. It's the shifting side to side that will probably give him issues. And you can't quite play drop coverage against Trae Young because he can shoot and Lou Williams can shoot as well. So if I'm Milwaukee, I'm going to put my trust in Middleton, Jrue Holiday, Lopez, and those other guys to get it done for me. And if I make it to the finals, we're going to see how Giannis's knee feels because he will have his hands full with DeAndre Ayton. I'm pretty sure Monty Williams will put him in that pick and roll with Ayton and Chris Paul. And you can't play drop coverage on Chris Paul because you saw the damage he did against the Clippers. All right, guys, that's the Eastern Conference Finals. That's tied up 2-2. Right now, Game 5 is going on right now in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's strong control in the first quarter, but we'll see how that finishes. We're shifting gears to the Western Conference Finals. Before I shift gears to the Western Conference Finals, I want to talk about RX Hemp. Let's talk about those sore, achy muscles that a lot of you probably have if you're older, especially if you're older like me. And you need to rub that cream on after a nice workout. RxHemp.com. Use the code RxHemp/USN to get 10% off of your order. It is warm and cool therapy CBD cream. Pay attention to the dosage. It is made with all natural products, and we have celebrity believers here down at the bottom. So check out RxHemp.com. Use the code RxHemp/USN to get 10% off your entire order. All right, the Western Conference Finals came to an end last night. Why? Chris Paul just decided in the third quarter, you know what? I'm just going to take over it, and I'm just going to put my team on my back. And we're going to win this game. The Clippers fought, and they fought, and they fought, and they fought. And Chris Paul, every time it seems like the Clippers put their toe in the water, Chris Paul made a play. Chris Paul hit a shot. And Monty Williams said, you know what, Chris Paul, I'm going to play you the whole fourth quarter. Because the game got away from them in the third a little bit because Cameron Payne was a little out of control and things like that. And he gave Chris Paul a rest. He brought Chris Paul back in, and Chris Paul said, okay, guys, I'm going to take us to the promised land. Don't worry. Devin Booker hit some shots. DeAndre Ayton hit some shots. Cam Johnson was out with a non-related COVID illness. I don't want to say injury. I'll say illness. So he'll be back for the finals. I'm pretty sure he'll be back. Torrey Craig. Jay Crowder. Bogey hits a three. It is now 10-22 Milwaukee. 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first, excuse me. Torrey Craig and Jay Crowder were huge for the Phoenix Suns. It's those others. It's always those others. You know what Aiden's going to give you. You know what Chris Paul's going to give you. You know what Booker's going to give you. It's the others. It's the Mikal Bridges. It's the Cam Johnsons, even though he didn't play last night. It's the Cam Paynes. It's the Jay Crowders. It's the Torrey Craigs. It's those other guys. Dario Saric last night from three was amazing. Ooh, nice lob. That was a nice lob there from Drew Holiday to Lopez. Dario Saric hit some threes on a pick and pop. What Chris Paul was able to do last night was surgical. Was just surgical. And it was mid-range. I think he was 7 from 8 from the three-point line. He did it from everywhere on the floor, anytime he wanted to do it. And guess who did not make adjustments? Ty Lue didn't know what to do because he would put Boogie Cousins in that pick and roll with Saric, that pick and pop with Ayton. Pick and pop with Saric or that pick and roll with Ayton. And Bobby Portis just ripped Lou Williams. You don't see that very often from Lou Williams. And Chris Paul was able to exploit that. Monty Williams said, we're just going to keep doing the same thing. At first, the Clippers were in that zone. They gave Phoenix so many problems at the beginning of the game. But they got out of that zone because Phoenix figured out the zone, of course. It's professional basketball. You're going to figure out how to bust a zone. When you throw a zone in mid-game, it's kind of like, whoa. But once you've had a day or two to prepare for the zone, you're like, okay, we know what to do now. We know what sets we need to run. Gallo is in for the Hawks. So is Cam Reddish. And so is Okongwu. I'm very high on Okongwu, by the way. If you guys don't know, I am very, very high on Okongwu. Rebound, Cam Reddish. And I knew he would start getting minutes. DeAndre Hunter has been out, too, with that knee injury. Cam Reddish could not finish for the Atlanta Hawks. You guys know Dante DiVincenzo is out for the Bucks. He's been out basically the whole playoffs for the Bucks. So they've been playing without him since I think the second or third game in the first series. And then DeAndre Hunter just went out for the Hawks. He hasn't played in the last two series. Gallo shoots it. No. Rebound Okongwu. A foul by Portis. I think Okongwu's getting ready to shoot too. And from the Clippers side of things, that's how I feel about the Phoenix Suns. Congratulations to Chris Paul. I'm excited for Chris Paul. Ty Lue did not make adjustments. That game just got blown open. Chris Paul was able to do what he wanted to do, and they just fed off Chris Paul. You just saw the energy in that building in the Staples Center just go. He just deflated that energy. Patrick Beverley played very aggressive on offense, to say the least. He was very aggressive on offense. He crossed Chris Paul up, hit a layup, talked trash to Chris Paul. And then when Chris Paul started to take over, he pushed Chris Paul as he's walking back to the huddle, and he gets ejected. And Jay Crowder said, at that point, we knew that we had them. At that point, we knew game was over. They looked defeated. Ty Lue said his players were tired because of both of their series. Well, no, Utah went 6. Dallas went 7. Utah went 6. Phoenix has been chilling. Phoenix took the Lakers to 6, Denver to 4. Phoenix has pretty much been chilling. But you get that luxury when you handle business. Brook Lopez is looking like his young self, like he was at Stanford. You get that luxury when you sweep a team or you get a series over quickly. You get that luxury of rest. So the Clippers did everything in their power to avoid the Lakers, and then Dallas took them 7. And, of course, Utah took them 6. They win game 6 in Utah, and they lose game 6 at home to the Phoenix Suns. Of course, Kawhi Leonard did not play. Serge Ibaka's been out for basically half of the season. Phoenix is pretty healthy. Phoenix is a very healthy team right now. Very, very, very healthy. And looks like whoever's going to win the NBA Finals is going to be survival of the fittest. So these NBA Finals will definitely be survival of the fittest. Chris Dunn has now checked in for the Atlanta Hawks. I was high on Chris Dunn at Providence. Big East Defensive Player of the Year. I think Minnesota drafted him. He's been traded a couple of times. Chicago, I think Minnesota, Chicago. Now he's in Atlanta. So I love Chris Dunn. They're showing a picture of Okongwu for Chino Hills. He's the forgetting about star because you had the Ball brothers, LaMelo, LiAngelo, Lonzo, and they have Elijah Scott on there. He's pretty darn good. And then you got Okongwu. Okongwu is that forgotten star for Chino Hills. I always said that when I did his draft profile, I talked about that. But back to the Western Conference Finals. I'm trying to do two things at once. The Clippers just didn't have enough. And the Phoenix Suns were clicking on all cylinders. And once Chris Paul got going, I knew it was pretty much over with. They lost. The Clippers lost 2 games on the road. Okay, Clippers down 2-0. They did that back-to-back series. You're down 2-0. That takes a lot of energy to come back after being down 2-0. And you could see it in their faces and in their legs in game 6. It just took a toll on them mentally and physically. Having to play against a DeAndre Ayton who's averaging a double-double and get you 15, 14 rebounds a night. He is a beast. He's a monster down there. You didn't have Zubac at all games 5 and 6 because he has a knee injury. You don't have Kawhi. It was a tall task. Reggie Jackson played well. Boogie Cousins had moments. Paul George had his moments. It just looked like Paul George was tired and he ran out of gas. And that's pretty much what I'll say about Paul George. I am a big Paul George fan. I'm a huge Paul George fan, but he ran out of gas. He ran out of gas doing it all because he was rebounding in double digits as well. Then, try to get your teammates involved and then trying to hit those big shots. He struggled from 3, and Paul George is a pretty good 3-point shooter. Marcus Morris had a knee injury at the beginning of that series, and then once his knee got healthier, he started to look like Marcus Morris. He was an X factor for me. Him and Cam Payne were my 2 X factors for this series, but he was just never able to get his footing quite right. Okay, Okongwu's giving some good minutes for Atlanta off the bench. They're still down 18, but he's giving some good minutes for Atlanta. Oh, Connaughton, pull up. Nope, long rebound, Jrue Holiday. They just cannot rebound. And Brook Lopez, I think he might have – Brook Lopez has to be in double figures. Has to be. Because he's had at least 4 or 5 dunks that I've seen watching this game, and one for Cam Reddish. And one. If Cam Reddish can come back in this series and play meaningful minutes, I think that'll be big for the Hawks. But anyway, the Clippers just gave it all they had. Paul George gave it all he had. I can't be upset. I can't be mad. But Marcus Morris and Cam Payne were my 2 X factors for this series. Marcus Morris, when he finally got healthy, you start to see he was percolating. He was playing like Marcus Morris. Reggie Jackson is going to get paid. I don't know if the Clippers are going to pay him, but somebody's going to pay Reggie Jackson. Somebody's going to play Cam Payne. I think Phoenix is probably going to keep Cam Payne and pay him. But Reggie Jackson was very emotional in the press conference. He was very emotional because he said that they took a chance on him. Like, they saved him from Detroit. You guys know Detroit is a cesspool. Like, Blake Griffin came back from Detroit and he's looking like Blake Griffin of the Clippers and dunking and everything like that. So Detroit was just a toxic environment for players. Andre Drummond got out of there. Derrick Rose got out of there and got MVP votes and 6th Man of the Year votes as well for the New York Knicks. They went to the playoffs. Blake Griffin, of course, their team went to the playoffs. Reggie Jackson, his team went to Western Conference Finals. So those players in Detroit just needed to change the scenery. They just needed to change the scenery. And I think Reggie Jackson's going to get paid. I think he's probably going to warrant probably about, between 15 and 17 a year. He might get a little bit more than that because Reggie Jackson can give you 20 points a game. He was doing it in Detroit. It was just, A, they don't show Detroit on TV much. And B, it's the Detroit Pistons. They're a smaller market. They're not very good right now. The draft could change that. They do have the number 1 overall pick. So Detroit was just not a good place for him. And he was able to, I want to say, resurrect his career. I don't want to say that because he played well in Detroit. You just didn't see it. He was able to show people what he could do on the main stage and how he could fill up the stat sheet. And I'm very happy for Reggie Jackson. Marcus Morris said, there's no doubt in my mind that Kawhi Leonard will be back. The Hawks are just making dumb turnovers, and Bobby Portis is on the break. And they now lead 36-19. But it's just something about Reggie Jackson I've always loved since he was in OKC. I've always loved the kind of competitive fire that Reggie Jackson has. We know he can score the basketball, but he did a lot for the Clippers and one for Gallo. He did a lot for the Clippers. And I understand why he was emotional, and I understand why he felt the way he felt, because the way that series ended was brutal. Was very brutal for them. They were in that game, and all of a sudden they had that game. All of a sudden, Chris Paul had the legs and they didn't. Phoenix had the legs and they didn't. Chris Paul gave them 41 points, an efficient 41 points with 0 turnovers. And now Phoenix Suns are going to rest again because they're going to wait for this Eastern Conference Finals to get done, and it's probably going to go 7. More than likely, this series will go 7. Right now, Atlanta is down 22-36. They're down by 14, and the Phoenix is just chilling. And the Clippers they fought so hard to come back 2-0 and just didn't have it. But I'm proud of the Clippers. I'm proud of Reggie Jackson. DeMarcus Cousins is probably going to get another shot somewhere as well. I don't know if it's going to be with the Clippers. I'm not quite sure. I think Kawhi is coming back. Paul George will be back, of course. But what do you do with Kennard? What do you do with Rondo? Kennard plays some minutes, but he got exposed on defense, which every player, it's a player on every team that they'll expose on the floor on defense. What do you do with certain players? What do you do with Reggie Jackson? Marcus Morris will be back. Serge Ibaka will probably be back. Nick Batum, he did what he needed to do for the Clippers. What do you do? What do you do with that roster to make it championship worthy? Because if all teams are healthy, right? So we say all teams are healthy, they're a top 3 team in the West. If we're being honest, they're a top 3 team in the West, probably top 4 in the West. They played very hard. And I take my hat off to Ty Lue and those Los Angeles Clippers and Steve Ballmer and what he was able to do with that roster, basically rebuild it. Pat Beverly's the only Clipper left from 4 years ago, I believe. So I think he was a part of that Chris Paul trade to Houston. Or he's a part of Chris Paul trade somehow, some way. And they don't like each other. You saw what Bev did to Chris Paul at the end of the game. But Phoenix Suns move on. Chris Paul's first NBA Finals in 16 years. He said, damn, it feels good. He did some more cussing on air. He apologized to Rachel Nichols. He said, oh, my bad. He said, I'm going to talk to you at the award ceremony, at the trophy presentation. He was so excited, so full of emotion. Monty Williams has been there with Chris Paul since he was young in his career. It was great to see. It almost made me shed a thug tear. If you want me to be honest, it almost made me shed a thug tear. So Phoenix Suns, moving on. Devin Booker wants to be in the playoffs, and you're in the finals. Devin Booker, whatever intuition you have, I want to have that too. I want to be in the playoffs. I'm tired of losing. Okay, I'm going to go 8-0 in the bubble. All right, I'm going to come back and have the second best record in the league, second best record in the West. Okay, I'm going to come back and play in the NBA Finals. Who would have thought? But they believed. They believed in Monty Williams, Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, Torrey Craig, all those guys. Just congratulations to you. Campaign, I'm extremely happy for you, because they didn't think you should deserve to be in the league, and you weren't in the league. And then you get called up to come play in the bubble from Monty Williams because he coached you in OKC, and he saw something in you, and he believed in you, and you're going to get paid. So, Abdul Nader, one of my favorite Thunder players, is in the finals. So Nader, Chris Paul, and Campaign are all ex-NBA Thunder players. All ex-Thunder players that are in the finals. There are 3 Thunder players that are in the finals right now. That's beautiful, man. I love it. Once a Thunder player, you always have a part of my heart. All right. Speaking of heart, we're going to move on to a segment. And this is kind of sports related, not sports related. I won't go into too much detail, but I'm going to give prayers out to all the women and the men that have been victims of physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, alcohol abuse, drug abuse. My prayers go out to you. And I'm going to say this about why I'm giving these prayers. Chauncey Billups and Jason Kidd got hired. We know how I feel about them. If you don't know, watch Count the Bucket. If you don't know, listen to Step Back Sisterhood. How I feel about them getting opportunities, coaching opportunities. Bill Cosby gets released from prison. After all the allegations, all women that came forth in his case, he gets released. The women are still dealing with past traumas, and the men are able to move on with their lives. I just have to say a special prayer to you women who have dealt with that type of abuse in this instance. And men, if you have dealt with that type of abuse, I don't just want to center this around women. Men also, if you have dealt with the type of abuse that I'm talking about as well, I have a prayer that goes up to you as well. It's tough. I know victims of domestic violence. I know victims of rape, emotional, mental abuse. It's very tough to talk about. But I want to send a prayer out to all those victims, men and women who have watched their predators go on and live their lives where they have to deal with trauma on a daily basis. Trauma that affects their dating life, trauma that affects their emotional well-being, maybe work life, anything that you're dealing with due to past trauma. I would say go talk to a therapist about it and just try to work it out. I know it's difficult to do, but I'm praying for you men and women that have dealt with that type of trauma. All right, guys, we got one more sponsor that I have to do. I think, yep, we got one more sponsor, and this is the Patreon. And I think it deleted from my, yes, it did delete from my page. So, patreon.com/unwrapsports, $1 a month, you become a fan. $5 a month to become part of the family. You get 10% off for that Teespring shop I showed you before. You get all access to the Discord chat that has been winning money like crazy. $10 a month, become VIP, 20% off that Teespring shop, all access to the Discord chat, and you get put in a hat, and they pick a winner every month for signed memorabilia. I'm not sure what it is for the month of June. July is already here, but I'm pretty sure Perry's going to let us know. So guys, support the Unwrapped Sports Network on patreon.com/unwrappedsports. Episode 41 will be coming next week. We'll probably have an Eastern Conference champ, maybe. I'm thinking we will, because this will probably go 6 or 7. So we probably will have an Eastern Conference champ. I got one comment. All right, great talk. See you on the banter. Yes, I'm going to come on Backstop Banter. I don't know much about baseball, but I know Mississippi State won the College World Series. And I also know that it's their first national championship in any sport. I believe that I saw that graphic. So I will come on the Backstop Banter and I will comment and try to participate in that as much as I can. I keep up with baseball a little bit, but not as much as I used to. But thank you, Garrett, for tuning in as always. I really appreciate that. But next week, we should have the NBA Finals should be set by next week. They should be set. And it looks like Atlanta's making a run right now. It is 40-28. If Milwaukee loses this game, they should shoot themselves in the foot. It's just a shot in the foot. Like, we shouldn't have lost game 4. And we're going to turn around and lose game 5 at home. You cannot do that, Milwaukee. You cannot, especially without Trae Young. Atlanta's a different team without Trae Young. Granted, Lou Williams can get you 20 every night. Draymond Green made a comment. Lou Williams gave us 52. But can't lose this game, Milwaukee. You just can't do it. But we'll talk about the NBA Finals. We'll talk about WNBA All-Star. We'll talk about the NCAA. And I'm going to try to pull up certain colleges' restrictions and try to show them to you guys because I want to talk about this because I think it's huge. And then the WNBA All-Star will be there next week. And then the week after that, we'll talk about the All-Star game. But we'll have a packed show as always because sports never stops. It seems like sports just keeps on going. But I will see you guys next week. And thank you for tuning in.